So when you first got involved with the Krays, what was your parents' attitude to that?
My dad didn't know nothing about the Krays. It meant nothing to him. Um, my mum had died, so she never ever met him. But it wasn't me who got involved with him, really. It was my brother Tony. He was involved, but I never knew that at the time because I wasn't living in London.
Did you like this day and age you hear about like Pablo Escobar and the other big names? Were they a big name back then, or were they pretty low
No,
level?
no, no, no. They're a pretty big name.
Okay,
But the thing was, nobody wanted anything to do with them.
and why was that?
Well, Brother Charlie's question would probably give you a pretty good idea. Chris, don't tell him anything. They'll want it before we've even got it. That was Charlie's thing. They were money mad. Got to have money for this, got to have money for that, got to do this, got to do that, got to do that. Perfectly charming when you met them. And, but the thieves, the good thieves, they, the black men, the people who did good stuff, that made a lot of money out of crime, they were loners, like the bank robbers and people like that. So they would stay away from the Krays. They called them thieves' ponces, and that's genuine. Exactly what they called them, and they want nothing to do with them, and neither did I. So what happened? I was down the blind beggar. And I was trying to buy some dollars, crooked dollars,
As
and
you
the guy,
do.
as you do, and the guy never turned up. So I'm waiting to get a bus because my car's in service, and a guy called Ronnie Bender drove by, and he said to me, Chris, he said, what are you doing here? I said, my car's in the garage getting fixed. Come in and give you a lift home. And he drove me home, and I said, cheers, Ronnie, I'll see you later. And I went home, sat indoors with my dad, and then there was a knock on the door about half an hour later, and it was Ronnie Bender. I said, what are you doing here? He said, Chris, he said, the twins want to meet you. I said, I don't want to meet them. Do you need a few quid? I said, no. And he said, Tony's there. All right, I'll go down there. And they were great. I know, Chris, nice to meet you. Ronnie Kray, it's lovely to meet you. Yes. Maybe we can do something. We have a favour to ask of you. I said, oh yeah, what's that? He said, we'd like you to come to our club in Leicester and bring some of the Birmingham people to the club, gamblers. So I said, I can do that. They weren't asking me an awful lot. And so I did that. I showed Charlie Kray, and there's another guy called Mickey Riley, Billy Hill's nephew. Another night, he was a decent guy, Mickey, and they didn't believe the kind of lifestyle you could have in Birmingham, where in London you just about survived. I took them to a place called the Ponderosa. Man, it was something else. It was a house. A friend of mine, car dealer, had underground car parks, some hairdressing salon, a gym, walk-in showers like you would only find at Wembley. They couldn't get their head around it. So, these were supposed to be successful criminals, but the successful straight men were much stronger, in a better position they could ever possibly be. And so I showed him that kind of thing. And that was how I got involved with him, through the club. So when I came down to see my dad, because my dad, was a widower on his own. And my brothers didn't want to really go to the house. They loved my dad, but they didn't want to go to the house because of my mum going. You lose the mother, you're losing the captain of the ship. And you can't handle it. You can't handle grief when you lose your mum. It's like losing part of the world. But the thing was, that I used to go down there every other week and stay down there until this one week where a guy called Ray Mills said, Chris, he said, I'm going down to London this week. He said, see my brother Alan. Why don't you come down? I said, no, Ray, I'm I'm not going down. I said, because I was down last weekend. Come on, he said, come down. He said, I'll meet Tony, you'll meet Alan, we'll have a great time out. No, I don't want to do it. And he kept on. I'd had a few drinks, and I agreed. Worst move I ever made in my whole life. Went down as agreed. Saw my dad. Me and Tony went off, and we went over to Limehouse. Met the Mills brothers, and then we decided to bring them over into the East End. And we went to the Marquess of Cornwallis, and their mum was having a party of some description, and all the chaps were there, and they were there. And it was a pretty jolly occasion, really. Everybody was kind of happy. And we left there and we went to the Queen's Arms. And there Tony said, look, why don't we take them to the Regency and we can go to West End from there. I said, Tony, we've been going everywhere. Let's go straight to the West End. We know it's a great place down there, the bestseller. Plenty of birds down there. Let's have it. And he went, no, let's just go to the Regency. And the Mills brothers said, yeah, let's do the Regency. For some reason or other, I didn't want to go there. But Saturday Night Gangsters was the reason I kept my mind on it. But anyway, we go, and loads of people in there. And Jack the Hat came by and he went, hello. He went, how you doing? And all the rest of it. Shook his hand, and away he went. And then a general invitation to a party went on. And he went and said to me, you coming? I said, I don't really want to go. He said, well, come on. He said, come. So anyway, we went. I couldn't get my car out. There were that many cars around the Regency. So we got in Jack's car and we went in his car. We got around there. We went to the door, and the door was opened by a guy called Ronnie Hart. And everybody went downstairs. Jack ran into the front room. Where's the party? Where's the party? Where's the girls? Where's the booze? And Reggie Kray pulled a gun out. I saw this. I didn't come down here for this. I did not come down here for this. And I said that. And there was a guy called Connie Whitehead. He went and saw Ronnie Kray. And Ronnie Kray said, take him home. And he dropped me off home. I sat there and I waited. And I thought, my car's at the Regency. Tony's up there. I've got to do something. So I had a gun hidden away, a Webley 38. I went and got it. I fully loaded it up, put it in my pocket. And I caught a taxi up to the Regency Club, got my car, and I drove to the Evering Road. I knocked on the door, and this guy called Ronnie Bender, the one who introduced me to him, came to the door. And I said, Ron, is Tony there? He went, no. I said, all right, Ronnie, I'll see you. And I went to walk away. And he said, Chris, don't leave me. Oh, what do you mean, don't leave you? He said, please, he said, stay with me. I went, what's the matter, Ron? He said, they've killed him. I went, what? Killed him? Killed who? He said, Jack. I said, what, in front of all them people? Can you imagine John killing me here and now, and there's five of us all together, but there's 4 people, there's some more out there, but altogether there was about 12 people. And apparently they murdered him in front of all them people. Right. And I know Ronnie Bender's a soldier. He's a decent bloke. People like him. I've seen him trying his best working in pubs and that kind of thing behind the bar. And he turned around and he said, Chris, please don't leave me. I said, where are they? He said, they've run away. And I said, what's your instructions? He said, they told me to take the body and throw it over a railway bridge and let the train mash him up. And that way no evidence will be available. I thought, God, I can't believe this them leaving him in that state. And so I said, right, come with me. We went downstairs. I looked in the front room and there was Jack laying there. And I kept thinking he was going to get up. That's what you do. You understand what I mean? You don't think of somebody dead. You think they're going to come back to life. And we went into the kitchen and I took some socks and I gave him a pair, I put a pair on myself. And we went round and we cleaned everything, made sure everything was clean. There was no blood around or anything. And I went upstairs to a bedroom and there was no eiderdown in there. I got the eiderdown, but then I noticed 2 children asleep. So I've tiptoed out of there. I've gone downstairs. We've laid the blanket out. We've lifted Jack and put him on the sheet, rolled it up. But where we've been cleaning up, I've got a bucket of blood where the congealed blood had on the floor, and I'm going upstairs to put it in the toilet, put it down the toilet. And who should come back at that time but Blonde Carol, the lady, the mother of the 2 children, also the one who owned the house. And she said, hello, Chris. She said, what are you at? I said, look, you and George go in the bedroom, take it easy. There's been a bit of an altercation. It's all going to be sorted out. Don't worry about that. And she turned around and said, you sure you're all right? I went, yeah. Anyway, she went in the bedroom and that's when I had the bucket in my hand and I went and emptied it then. So she saw what I had in the actual bucket. Went downstairs, had a bit of a tidy up and got things together. And now we got to move the body. I said, well, how were you going to get that body from this house up to that railway bridge? He said, the only thing I could have done was thrown it over my shoulder.
A dead weight, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's a dead weight.
It's a dead weight, but not only that, it's bleeding profusely.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? If he's been killed by a knife, then obviously it's, they've been stabbed so many times apparently. So what happened then was we said, right, we'll put him in the boot of Jack's car, in the boot of his car. You can't put a body in the boot of a car. It's too small. So we put him on the back seat, and then there's an argument about who's going to drive him. I don't want my brother Tony to drive him. I can't drive him. I've got my own car. I want Ronnie Bender to drive him. Ronnie Bender is adamant he's not going to drive it. He wants nothing to do with it. He'll come with us, but he most certainly is not going to drive it. We then finally get a break in traffic because across the road there's a bagel shop, like a basement where they all go in and get their bagels, all the taxi drivers. So it's constantly going there. That stops and we manage to get Jack in the car. And then Tony says, someone's got to drive it, I'll drive it. Which I thought, to be honest, was a bit heroic of him. Because Bender didn't, I didn't want to. So we got behind him and we're driving along. We get up to Mayor Street. And when we get to Mayor Street, a police car pulls in behind Tony. I'm going to tell you the truth, John.
No, you've told me before, yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't let him take Tony.
No, I know.
Not with a body. I'm going to have to do something. I don't want to, but I'm going to have to.
And you've got a gun in your back pocket.
And I've got a gun in my pocket.
Yeah.
And as we're driving along, we got the police car sandwiched between us. We get down to the end of Mayor Street and it kind of turns right past the church and a police station. And the police car trotted off there. I have never been so relieved in my life. And then we turn right and we go along until we come down by Cambridge Heath and down that way. And we decide to take him through the Blackwall Tunnel. Put it on to South London. So it looks like, nothing happened over our manor. It happened on somebody else's manor. So finally, we lose Tony. We go through the Rotherhithe Tunnel. We lose Tony, don't know where he is. And we're driving around looking for him. Apparently, he's run out of petrol. If there's a comedy of errors, there's also a tragedy of errors. and Jack Dine was one of them. So we finally we pick Tony up, we find him, and he tells us where he's left the car, and we go there, and it's right outside the church, and there's been a wedding that day. There's all confetti around and everything else like that. And I thought, oh, at least he'll be found and he'll be given a funeral and everything else like that. So it looks like it's ending well for what it is, you understand? It's a total mess, but at least there's a church involved and other things. So we go off and we drop Bender off. Little did I know, Bender then went to Charlie Kray and told him what had happened. A man who wasn't involved and didn't even know it was going to happen, or didn't know it happened. He then had to get in touch with the twins, who then told him what had happened and everything else like that. They then learning that, that Jack's over in South London, they then get Freddie Foreman involved.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? All people, none of them need to have done a day.
Yeah.
If they had just kept their temper, just kept their cool, dealt with things in a proper manner. No, they got a frenzy. Why? Because Reggie for one, he's lost his wife. She committed suicide. That must be an awful burden. It must also kind of almost derange you to know that kind of thing had happened. And then you got on the other hand, you got Rennie, who didn't know, weren't taking his medicine, and anything was likely to happen. So that's what you're dealing with. Two people who are really out of control and who don't listen to anybody. I don't know anybody that I can't reason with. But with them two, nobody could, their own firm couldn't read.
Why did he die in the first place?
He upset them. Apparently he was walking around with a shotgun saying what he was going to do. Apparently he ripped him off for some tablets, drug tablets or something. I don't know what the truth to this day is. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think he should have died. I think whatever they did, they didn't achieve nothing. They spent 30 years in prison. They're not a success. They never were a success. They never will be a success. They've got the ability to sort of like, how can I put it, have people kind of, I don't know, hero worship them, and I don't understand it.